Hey everybody, welcome to MemTea. I'm Sue Ann and I'm here to talk about our monthly tea subscription program. So each month members receive 3 different styles of tea from our collection. We have over 120 teas to choose from. Typically we'll pick from recent arrivals, popular blends, or classic single origin teas to try to create a well-rounded tea experience. So this month we've selected a second flush Darjeeling, a dark oolong, and an herbal chai blend. So the packet comes with 3 half-ounce packages of each tea, and then a little booklet with brewing instructions and recipe ideas. So let's get started and get into these teas. I want to show you a little bit about what these teas are capable of. Okay, so I want to tell you a little bit about Darjeeling. Darjeeling is sometimes called the champagne of teas, and this is for good reason. Like champagne, tea that grows in Darjeeling can be called Darjeeling, and tea that grows elsewhere cannot. So it has its own geographical indication. And this is because the terroir, the earth, the soil, the water, the air, these are all unique to this place, which is a very small hilly region in northern India. It's at the base of the Himalayas, so 5 to 8,000 feet is really where most of these gardens exist. The Singell Estate is at elevation of 5,000 feet, and that's where this tea was produced. This is a second flush tea, so that means that it comes from the second growth spurt or harvest or picking of the season. So the plants are dormant all winter, and then in the early spring, almost this time of year, March, late March, early April, you'll get some new leaves sprouting up from these dormant bushes, and that would be the first flush or the first picking or first harvest. Then the plant goes dormant for a month. They call that the Banji period. And around late May, early June, you're going to get a second growth spurt. Only the new leaves are chosen to make this tea. And that's what gives it its delicate flavor and complex aroma. The thing about Darjeeling is that these plants are typically, in the rest of the world, used to make green tea. But this is a black tea made from the green tea plant. So it's going to have a little more astringency to it. So Darjeeling teas can be very vibrant, very lively, but you need to be careful with your water temperature. So the bag says 195 degrees, which is less than boiling. Boiling is 212. So in order to do that, what I like to do and what we tell our cafe customers and people at home that don't have thermometers or digital kettles is to just put a splash of cold water. This is just cold water from our filter. Throw about a half ounce in there for 8 ounces, and then I'm going to put 1 level teaspoon of tea. With Darjeeling, less is more, so I like to use a little bit less than I would with most teas, again, because this tea has a very assertive nature. So then we add our hot to the cold, and that's going to cool the overall temperature down to just about where we want it to be. And of course, in Darjeeling, they just boil the water and set the timer for 5 minutes. But I've thought a lot about this, and the elevation is higher up there, so I think that water actually has a lower boiling point, which might be why the teas taste so good when you're at the factory. Everything tastes really good because it's super fresh and they just made it. So you give that 3 minutes, and that's going to make a really bright golden liqueur, very lively cup. Another thing that we can do with the Darjeeling tea, which it's just starting to get to be that time of year where you might want some cold tea. I know that I've been drinking it even in the winter months. And so what I did here was I made a cold brew. You can see it's brewing without any hot water. This is just cold filtered water and a teaspoon of Darjeeling tea. I've been letting this sit for 4 to 5 hours. It really doesn't take that long with Darjeeling. Most teas you can leave 8 to 12 hours overnight. We've left teas here in our shop in the refrigerator for 12 to 16 hours without a problem. Usually, cold brewing will reduce the amount of tannin or astringency in the cup, but also increase the complexity of the flavor. And so, if you taste a cold brewed tea next to something that you're brewing with hot water and then pouring over ice, you'd be very surprised at the difference in flavor between them. So there's no filter or strainer in here. I just put the tea leaves right in the cold water, and then next, when you are ready to drink them, I've got a little strainer here, and I'm just going to transfer this into a new vessel. And there you have a delicious cold brew. Again, the flavor really full. These teas tend to be fruity, floral, lots of complexity going on, pleasant astringency or tannin. It's not a tea that you want to put milk in, really, because it's too delicate. Some Darjeelings you can get away with it, but this one might go awry. But as a cold brew, it's going to be really tasty. You pour this over ice or just drink it as is. I kind of like chilled tea rather than iced tea. I feel like the ice can sometimes sort of dull down really the flavor of the tea itself. So we're going to move on to the oolong. Okay, so next I want to talk about oolong. This dark Wuyi is an oolong tea from Fujian, China. So oolong is semi-oxidized tea, which means it's somewhere in between green tea and black tea, but it's neither. So it's its own category, and it's a very broad category because these teas can be anywhere from 10 to 90% oxidized, which creates a large range of colors and flavors and textures. So dark Wuyi is on the darker towards the closer to black tea in color. About 70 to 90% oxidized. It's a twisted oolong. Some of the oolongs are rolled into little balls, but this has long, lanky, twisted leaves, which means we're going to need a fair amount for our gaiwan. So I'm going to brew this. I'm going to do a little gong fu brewing to make this tea. So gong fu is the same word as kung fu. It means with patience and skill. It's a method of making tea with more tea and less water and less time so that you can brew the same leaves over and over again and hopefully get slightly different results with each extraction. So with this, I'm going to put 2 heaping teaspoons into the gaiwan. And this on the bag says that that's enough for 8 ounces, but this is a 3-ounce gaiwan, so I should be able to get several steeps from this with the same leaf, getting still some really nice flavor. So the way that you would brew in a gaiwan, and gaiwan simply means covered bowl, so this is a bowl with a saucer, and the lid is used to steep the tea and also to agitate the leaves if need be, and then finally to help strain the tea. The lid will hold the tea leaves inside the bowl while the liqueur is poured out into this sharing pitcher. So we can do this several times, and I'm gonna be doing that in the moments to come. But the way to hold this thing is really, by the lip, and don't fill it too high, and that way you can handle it pretty easily without burning your fingers. Another thing, tip, is to hold the lid with your index finger, and then your thumb and your middle finger can hold the bowl, and then hopefully all this can just get poured right into your sharing pitcher without too much trouble. There we go. Just try to get that out of the way. You want to make sure that you get all of the liquid out of the gaiwan, so that the leaves don't continue to steep in the water. So what we wind up with is a really robust aroma. I'm getting sort of some charred, roasty, toasty, nutty aroma here. Flavors tend to be more on the soft side. Toasted coconut, vanilla bean, leather, tobacco. This has sort of a slightly smoky kind of feel to it. And then again, this is the first steep. So as I continue to steep, hopefully we'll extract more of the flavors from the interior of the leaf and get different kinds of flavor components. So the last tea in the box is our herbal chai blend. We have a number of chai blends. Most of them contain tea, strong Indian tea, usually in Assam. In India, chai means tea, and it can be made with or without spices. But here in the U.S., we're accustomed to having our chai with the spices already in the blend. So chai spices or masala, which just means spicy. Chai is cardamom, cinnamon, clove, ginger, nutmeg, allspice. These are warm baking spices that make for really exceptional chai blends. This one just has the ginger, cardamom, clove, and cinnamon. And then the base of the tea is rooibos. And rooibos is an herb that's unique to South Africa. It grows only there in a 50 square mile radius. It's green when it's growing. It looks like a desert shrub, but when they cut the leaves off of the plant, they turn red rather than brown, which is how rooibos got its name. Rooibos means red bush in Afrikaans. It's got a lot of antioxidants in it, but really we love it because of the rich body, the smooth, soft flavors of vanilla. It's got sort of an earthy tone to it, which marries well with the baking spices. So we use rooibos in a lot of our blends. It being caffeine free, you don't have to worry about over steeping it. I made this tea concentrate, so I actually doubled the recipe that's on the bag here. It calls for 1 heaping teaspoon for 8 ounces. So I put 2 heaping teaspoons in so that I could make a strong brew that will hold up to the milk and spices, because I'm going to make a rooibos or herbal chai latte with this. So I have my double strength tea. And if this is something that you drink frequently and you want to have this concentrate ready to go ahead of time, you could, if you want sweetener, you could put sugar right in there, dissolve the sugar, and then store this in a jar in your refrigerator and then take it out as needed. That's what the cafes do when they make your chai latte. They take out a ready-made sweetened concentrate that they made in-house and then add it to your cup. And so what we want to do is use about 50% of the tea concentrate, and then I didn't sweeten mine yet, so I'm going to put a little sugar in here. And I like sugar, even though honey does actually taste really good with rooibos. Chai, the spices sort of call for sugar. They're baking spices, and so imagine baking a cake without sugar. Those spices would sort of be kind of doing their own thing, going a little crazy. Whereas when you add that sugar, everything kind of blends together and becomes this harmonious, sweet, delicious thing. So now my chai has some sugar. Smells delightful. And then I'm just going to add a little warm milk, and Voila! So I hope you enjoyed the 3 teas that we're serving up for the month of March, and also hope that you have some time to play with them and try different things. And we'd love to hear your feedback. If you make something at home that you're proud of, you can always post it on Facebook or Instagram, and we'll love it because we really miss you and love you and hope to see you again soon. So thanks for tuning in. Bon appetit.